In the previous lecture, I already mentioned that there is a shortcoming for the economic development consideration if we consider per capita income. But if we consider per capita income is an indicator of development, that may give a wrong result because the different country per capita income is different, that is not comparable. So we need to measure or exchange rate of the um, currency are not same, so there is a problem of uh, measuring the development of the economy. So we need to consider purchasing power of is there any parity in the purchasing power or not? We just need to consider in economic development. We can construct an example that um, if we get an access from India, a salon service or parlor service that may be 100 or 200 rupees for hair cutting, but if the same service will provide by the US salon, then we need to pay $10 or $12 or more than that. So $10 means 800 rupees in Indian currency, in Indian rupees. So there is a disparity in the uh, exchange of the currency. Because in India, the same service we can acquire only 80 or 100 or 200 rupees, but for the same hair cutting, we need to pay um, $10 or $12. That means 800 to 900 rupees. So there is a huge disparity because of uh, the exchange rate or the conversions of the amount is not same, or there is one uh, 1 rupee is $1 is equal to 80 rupee. So our um, money value depreciates and their money value it's appreciate more because $1 is equal to 80 rupees. For the same service we need to pay more, so there is a parity for non-traded good. In purchasing power parity, per capita income should be in terms of purchasing power parity since the price of non-traded good is relatively lower in the underdeveloped countries. I already mentioned that if I get this service, we need to pay less in India, that is developing country, but need to pay more in developed countries, that is 800 rupees in Indian rupee. And in India, we need to pay only 80 rupees. So there is a huge disparity. Therefore, to make a meaningful comparison with living standard in purchasing power parity, to remove the problem of exchange rate, the Alan Heston and Robert Summer creates a new data set called Pan World Table, which deals with international price. United Price put important effort on international comparison of price. Now we have the expenditure. It's suppose expenditure E it's equal to Pij into Qij. Total average expenditure of jth relative price. Jth country for ith commodity. J is the country and I its commodity. I is commodity and we get the relative price Pij divided by Pius. That is the relative price. Now, EI expenditure divided by the relative price, we get into PUS. So this cancel out and we finally get QIJ into PIUS. So price quantity into price of US. So therefore purchasing power parity is the quantity value of US price here or the price of the other currency. The quantity in terms of the price of other currency. So here purchasing power parity of any country, it's the relative domestic currency expand to the international price value or of its output. So that means we are paying $1. It's equal to 80 rupees. If we get the service from salon, we need to pay $1. In India, but in US dollar. But in USA, we need to pay $10. That means if we convert it in Indian currency, that is 10 into 80 equal to 800 rupees. If only consider $1 in India for salon service and or haircut or $10 in USA for haircutting. So where we need to pay more? We need to pay more in USA and we need to pay less in India. There is a parity and it is much more easier to understand. Suppose consider an example for purchasing power parity in US, that is traded good quantity it's 100. Someone is buying 100 amount, 100 quantity, and price need to pay $200. So all total that is $20,000 or $20 billion. 20,000, and it is also called 20 billion. And non-traded good quantity it's 2 and the price is 500. So that is 10,000 and 10 billion. And all total the value is $30 billion. In India, traded good quantity it's 8 and need to pay 9,000, all total 72,000. It is equal to 72 billion rupees. And non-traded good quantity it's 4, price is 60,000. So all total 24,000 and 24 billion rupees. All total is 312 billion rupees. So exchange rate is 9,000 divided by 2,000 for traded commodity. For only traded commodity. In USA, for 100 quantity, each quantity provide 200 rupees. For one quantity or one commodity need to pay 200 for traded good. And in India, for 8 commodity or quantity purchase need to pay 9,000. And so the exchange rate is 9,000 divided by 200, that is 45 is to 1. So here 1 for $1 need to pay 45 rupees. 1 day equal to 45 rupees. From the exchange rate for traded commodity, it is 9,000 divided by 200. 45 by 1, it is $1 is equal to rupees 45. So these 45 rupees in India we can get mm, one roll or one plate noodles. But in USA, if we convert these 45 rupees, we get only $1. And this currency, if we pay in restaurant, we didn't get anything from that restaurant, but we get at least one bottle of water or one plate of noodles. So there is a purchasing power disparity. In India, we can be able to buy something from any shop by giving 45 rupees, but if we go to US and give $1, then they will not give anything by this $1. So there is a disparity in the country due to the exchange rate. So now we can calculate GDP in Indian GDP in India, that is dollar 312. We are calculating Indian GDP in dollar. That is uh, by providing 312 billion rupees, and if we divide it by exchange rate, that is 6.9 billion. That means in India, GDP in dollar it's 3112 billion, and if we divided it by 45, then 6.9 billion dollar. So we can say that if we buy 8 plus 4 quantity, anything can be buy from the shop. 8 plus 4, 8 is traded commodity and 4 is non-traded. 8 is a quantity and 4 is also quantity, that is 12 commodity we all total purchase by 312 billion rupees. If we divide it by the exchange rate, that is US exchange rate, $1 is equal to 45 rupees. So now if we divide 45 rupees, 120, 312 divided by 45, then 6.9, and we get 6.9 billion dollar. If we give it to the or exchange this amount 3 312 and gets only 6.9 billion dollar in US currency for traded and non-traded commodity. And now for traded commodities, 8 is the quantity in India for traded good and 200 is the price of US dollar. Multiply them and get 1600 in US dollar, and that is 1.6 billion. And non-traded commodity 4 is Indian quantity 4 for non-traded, and price is considered US price is 5,000, that is 20,000 and 20 billion dollar. The all total value or all total money need to buy this traded and non-traded commodity in India by giving the US price. Quantity is quantity is for India, but price is in dollar. So all total we need 21.6 billion dollar, and previously we need 6.9 billion dollar for 8 plus 4 12 commodity, and here for 12 commodity we need to pay 21.6 billion dollar, and in India, so Here we can say that from India, the quantity is 12 and need to pay $6.9 billion. This is after conversion of Indian currency to US currency. And USA for 12 quantities product need to pay $21.6 billion. Comparatively, there is a purchasing power disparity because in India we need to pay lesser um, dollar to buy this quantity, but in USA we need to pay $21.6, that is higher than 6.9. So there is a purchasing power disparity. And in India, uh, clearly the GDP underestimates. So if we only consider the exchange rate, there is a clear indication of but uh, the exchange rate is not equal and GDP is underestimate. So after calculating exchange rate, we need to find out the purchasing power parity of the country. And accordingly, need to set the price of the commodity so that the GDP is not underestimate and we can make a parity of the purchasing power.